The Yankees held their 77th Old Timers Day this past weekend, an event that marked the celebration of the 25th anniversary of the team's 2000 World Series championship. While most of the old timers in attendance were a part of that roster, some of them were on the championship teams that came before. One of those players is Roy White, and Mr. White joins me now. Roy, great to see you again, and thanks so much for coming on today.
Sure, thanks for having me.
It's always our pleasure. So, Roy, considering that the Yankees dynasty you were a part of is now nearly 50 years ago, how great was it knowing that so many guys from those late 70s teams were able to make it to the ceremony?
No, it's always great. I get a chance to see some guys that I don't normally get to see, such as Lou Piniella. And Lou Piniella and I go back a long ways. I first saw Lou Piniella when I was playing in the Carolina League, and I was at Greensboro, and he was at I think it was Tidewater or no Newport News. I think he was at Newport News, and then later on, when I was on loan to the Dodgers farm system, I was at Spokane in the Pacific Coast League, and Lou was at Portland. So I saw him play there, and then later he went to Kansas City and then came to our club. So I've known Lou for over 40, 50 years.
It's fantastic to hear. Now, typically, do you stay in touch with any of your Yankees teammates, or are Yankees reunions the only time you guys really get together?
I'm in touch with everybody by phone, basically. I talked to Ron Guidry. Lou's not a good phone guy. You have to text him 4 or 5 times, and you're lucky if he gets back to you. Chris Chambliss I talked to by phone, and Mike Torres is a guy that I'm in touch with him. And some of the guys come in for appearances into New York, and I'll run into him, like Bucky Dent. He comes in, and I have that occasion to see him or Goose Gossage and Greg Nettles. I said most of the guys don't live in New York anymore, like in the old days, so you don't get to see those guys.
It makes it a lot tougher for sure. Now, even though it's not technically the same stadium you played in the 60s and 70s, what kind of memories did it bring back to take the field again all these years later and in front of a New York crowd?
Well, I didn't really take the field again, so.
Well, I remember you walked out. You said how you didn't. You wisely chose not to play. You wisely chose not to play.
Yeah, I get to sit on a chair on the infield, and that's about as far as I want to go these days. And but it's good to be in the stadium. It's not the same as the old one, of course, but just to have the energy of being in Yankee Stadium and to be in that atmosphere and to be with some of the guys from the 2000 team that had that great dynasty with Joe Torre. And I have a few friends on that team. Bernie Williams, I worked with in the minors, and I know him growing way back. I had the opportunity to coach him. And then all my teammates. So you get to relive some of those experiences that you had with those guys.
I think even Bucky Dent said he was opting out because he had a wedding or something the next day. It was a smart move on your guys' part. Now, I'm sure a lot of the players there looked up to you when they were younger and couldn't wait to talk to you. But were there any old-timers or current Yankees that you were looking forward to spending time with on Saturday?
Yeah, you always hope that some of the guys on the current team will come out and watch the game and kind of mingle with you a little bit, where you could ask them some questions, or they have an opportunity to ask you some questions. But unfortunately, none of those guys showed up, so I didn't get to see Aaron Judge or Volpe or Cody Bellinger or any of those guys. The guy that did show up on the bench was Jazz Chisholm. And that was good for me because my grandson is a big fan of his, my 14-year-old. So he said, if you get to meet Jazz, get his autograph or something like that. But I took a photo with him, and I had that to show my grandson later after the game.
That's fantastic.
So
Jazz, he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. So do you feel that there were a lot of similarities between your championship teams in the 70s and the 2000 championship team?
Yeah, a lot. I think we had the same sort of lineups. We didn't really rely exclusively on the home run. So we had guys that were on base guys that could hit the singles and doubles and steal some bases. And so we didn't always have to rely on somebody to hit home runs to score runs. We had Greg Nettles to get hit 30, and we had Reggie Jackson to get hit between 30 and 40 in some of the latter years. But anybody in our lineup could come up with a big hit. And also, we had the pitching and we had the relief pitching, and those are always key things that you have to have. And both of us, or both of those teams that we had and they had those.
Yeah, that's why they created a dynasty. And finally, Roy, it's a tough time to be a New York baseball fan. The Yankees are unfortunately slipping fast. My New York Mets are also in the middle of a serious collapse. This might be a loaded question, but do you think the Yankees can still turn it around before October and become serious contenders again?
It doesn't look good, but anything can happen in baseball, so you can't close the door. 78, we were 15 games out in July, and maybe 8 or 9 games out going into the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season, and we managed to catch the Boston Red Sox and have the playoff and still go to the playoffs in the World Series. So it can happen. They have the talent is there. They just got to get themselves back together, and they can still do it.
You're darn right. Well, I absolutely love talking baseball with Yankees legend Roy White. Roy, always a pleasure, and thanks so much for taking the time today.
Mike, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it too.
Thank you so much. Coming up, Gotham FC took the time to visit patients at RWJ Barnabas hospitals throughout New Jersey. We'll have more on that after the break. Well, one of the things I love about professional athletes here in Jersey is that they are just as involved in the community as they are in their sports. Last week, Gotham FC paid a visit to more than a dozen RWJ Barnabas health hospitals across the state to spend quality time with patients and staff. Joining me now to talk about the event is RWJ Barnabas Senior Vice President of External Communications and Corporate Partnerships, Justin Edelman. Justin, thanks so much for your involvement with this and for taking the time today.
Oh, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. So before we get into the event itself, can you talk a little about your involvement with these events and your responsibilities in putting them together?
Yeah, absolutely. In my role, we have a lot of amazing relationships at RWJ Barnabas Health with professional sports teams and collegiate teams. And one of the things that I do in overseeing that is really look to connect with the community, to bring these organizations into our facilities to really brighten the day of our patients and our staff and employees.
Now, how long has Gotham FC been making these kinds of visits? And does RWJ Barnabas get visits from other local teams as well?
Yeah, this is our second year working in partnership with Gotham FC. They've been an incredible partner. We also have visits from a number of other professional sports teams, the Devils, Rutgers, Seton Hall, Princeton, and the list goes on. And all are amazing in their own unique ways.
It's fantastic to hear. Now, what were some of the activities the players took part in with patients and staff, and what were the ones that they seemed to have the most fun with?
So every facility is really unique. The players actually went out to 13 of our hospitals around the state of New Jersey, and each one had a unique itinerary because it's not all the same at every facility. So some visited pediatric patients. We had players who were visiting a burn unit at Cooperman Barnabas, players who were visiting cancer units, the cafeteria. They were playing FIFA soccer games. They were in playrooms, kicking a soccer ball around. They were drawing and coloring. They were just making the patients feel really great and putting a smile on their faces. But equally important, they really make an impact on our nurses, our doctors, and our employees who really, really love seeing them come through the hospitals.
And Justin, to piggyback off of that, how rewarding is it to see that events like this can really make a difference in someone's life and that these patients and staff are so much happier once the day is over?
Yeah, it's incredibly rewarding. I got to walk around with a few of the players, and they're really amazing. The way that they connect, the way that they interact, the way that they just care. And it's so important to them, and it really shows. So, we always notice and we say it really makes such a big impact them coming through, not just on the patients, as I said, but on our entire team, because it really makes them feel great about the job that we're doing, caring for patients in the community.
Now, in addition to the hospital visits, can you tell us about the overall partnership between RWJ Barnabas Health and Gotham FC?
Yeah, RWJ Barnabas Health is the official healthcare provider for Gotham FC. So what that means is that we care for all of their players throughout the year. We have doctors and specialists and a team behind the team. So that is number one, how we care for their players. Additionally, we work with them regularly on content series, trying to put out important health and wellness information into the community using the platform of the players. Additionally, we have numerous activations that take place on site at the arena at Red Bull or Sports Illustrated Arena, now formerly Red Bull Arena. So we have a small mini pitch out front of the arena where kids can come and play before they go to a game. We're also regularly tabling, giving out health and wellness information and providing screenings for the community.
Now, does RWJ Barnabas have any other events with Gotham FC on the horizon, or anything with any other local teams?
Yeah, we'll continue to work with Gotham FC and the players. They'll do some special activities and come by and see us at different events and different hospital activities. We're also kicking up as we get into the fall. The Devils season is on the horizon. Rutgers and on the football side, and then basketball for Seton Hall and Rutgers. So as they all come, we really ramp up a lot of our activities.
It's fantastic to hear. Justin Edelman, Senior Vice President of External Communications and Corporate Partnership with RWJ Barnabas. Thanks so much for taking the time today and the work you do.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Coming up, John Schmeelk is getting a new co-host for the Giants pregame and postgame show on WFAN this season. We'll talk with Schmeelk and the NFL legend when we come back. Well, John Schmeelk has been one of my regular guests on the show for quite some time, and today I've invited him to come on with another familiar face. John has been at the helm of the Giants pregame and postgame show on WFAN for the past 2 seasons, and he'll be joined in the booth by a football legend for season number 3. That legend is Tiki Barber. The new radio duo joins me now. John and Tiki, thanks so much for coming on, and a big congratulations.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, man. We're excited.
Oh, I'm excited to have you guys here. John, I'll start with you. This will be your 3rd season on the show. Talk about your passion for the New York Giants, how this show came to be, and how you initially got the gig.
Hey, look, I've been with the Giants since 2007. Got there just in time for the Super Bowl. Got there right as Tiki left, which that Tiki's final season there was 2006. I got there in 2007. And ironically, before I got there, I worked where Tiki now works, WFAN. So it's kind of a weird circular thing where we've missed each other a little bit, but now we're going to work together, which should be great. I've produced the Giants radio broadcast all those years. I just started hosting pre and post game. As you mentioned, the last 2 seasons, this will be season 3. And I could not be more excited to be working with a player that's 14th on the Giants top 100 list, over 10,000 rushing yards. I think he should be a Hall of Famer. Just look at his stats compared to guys like, Jerome Bettis, Terrell Davis, guys like that. And I could not be more excited.
Oh, I agree with you, John. And John, as self-explanatory as it may sound, pregame show, postgame show, can you talk about the premise of each and perhaps how the format has evolved since you first started?
Yeah, I mean, we try to be informative but fun. I think that's the best way I can describe it, where we want to give you the information and facts before the game so that you're ready for the game and know the important things to watch for. That'll determine who's going to win or lose and what the keys to the game are, who the important players are going to be. Football is very much a matchup-related game. What the important matchups are going to be, how coaches might have to adjust things based on the team they're playing. That's the pregame show, but you want to do it where you have fun. Football is supposed to be fun. People are at their tailgates before the game. People are listening in the car. You want to get excited for the game too. So it's a combination of those 2 things. And in the post game, even though it's tough when you haven't watched the coach's tape yet, which Tiki and I do every Monday morning, you want to give people a good sense of how to think about what happened that day. Whether it's what players played well, was it coaching mistakes on either side that caused a win or a loss? Maybe who are the unsung heroes that it's hard to see on the TV copy that played really well? Things like that. And again, do it in a fun way. And, just make sure people leave our broadcast thinking about the game in the right way. And T can speak to this, doing shows every day in WFN. A lot of times people get out of these games really, I think, thinking about why a team won or lost the wrong way. And I think it's our job to make sure that they're, kind of focusing in on the right things.
And Tiki, I have to say, being a sports analyst suits you very well. Not every former athlete can pull it off convincingly, but you're simply amazing at what you do. What made you decide to pursue this career, and how did you know it would be such a great fit for you?
It's a good question, Mike, and I think the answer is simple. Early in my NFL career with the Giants, I kind of sucked. And so I was trying to find something else to do in my off seasons, and it started, interestingly enough, at WFAN. I remember going over to Queens in the overnight with Joe Beningo and all those crazy folks that would work in the midnight hours and talking sports. And I realized I kind of liked talking, even though I grew up as a shy kid. As my career went on, the opportunities just got bigger and bigger from doing Fox News and then ultimately the Today Show. And then 15 years later, I land back at WFAN with a parent company, Odyssey. And here I am now on WFAN on a daily basis with Evan and Tiki from 2 to 6, shameless plug there. But I think analyzing games came about because of my brother. I didn't get into it right after I left the game, but he asked me when he was at Fox to come co-host one of his broadcasts. And I realized how much I missed watching film and breaking down NFL games and players. And it naturally led to the stints that I do now. And I'm finally back home with the New York Giants doing pre and post with John. And I couldn't be more excited.
That is so great to hear. And Tiki, you've co-hosted with so many talented and knowledgeable guys over the years, and now you get to add John Schmeelk to that list. In your experience as a co-host, what is it that creates good chemistry between you and the other guy, and why do you think John will be such a good fit?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think accepting what you don't know and learning from your co-host is something that has always been important to me. And so if you go back, and you know this, Mike, because you were with us during that COVID year with Brandon Tierney on Tiki and Tierney on Odyssey and WFAN, I knew not a lot about baseball, and I accepted that. And he taught me baseball to the point where I now have these deep conversations about why the Mets stink or why the Yankees lost 5 in a row. And it's become an absorption process for me. And I think with John, because of the way the Giants operate, they're very close to the vest. I call Dabes, he's Bill Belichick with a smile because he doesn't tell you anything. So you have to be there and into the grind of it. And John is. And I know we're going to put together a great broadcast each and every pregame and postgame because he has access. I also have access. But it's just my mind as a football player with his mind as an analyst.
And by the way, John, you've taught me a lot about football as well. And John, I know you've gotten to work with Tiki on occasion before. How cool is it knowing that he wanted to jump on board with you on a regular basis? Because it's not only cool that he's joining you, but it's also a testament to the great work that you do.
I am very humbled by all the kind words you guys are saying about me, by the way. Thank you very much. Look, I think what Tiki said was right on, by the way. Not enough people in this business know what they don't know. And I do think that's very important. I will never be able to understand what it's like in a football locker room, what it's like, for a player getting ready for a game, watching film, getting ready for a game. I never did that. So Tiki's going to bring that to the post-game show and the pre-game show, that's something that I can't contribute. I'm going to bring some real nerdy football stuff, though. Like, you want to hear about EPA? Oh, I'm going to have those numbers for you ready to go. So I think it's a good combination where he's going to bring the football player perspective. I'm going to bring a lot of the analytical stuff. To Tiki's point, I'm in the building every day. I watch and listen to all the media availability. I have access to the players every day. Tiki has a different type of understanding of how players approach things as being a former great player for the Giants with a 10-year career. So I think the combination of our skills is what's really going to make this work. And both of us understanding that we maybe know more about one aspect than the other and leaning on each other and coming together to putting together the best broadcast we can. Our first one coming up on Saturday before the Bills game. The Giants kick off their preseason against the Bills on Saturday at 1 o'clock, and our pregame show starts at noon on WFAN. Another shameless plug.
And Tiki, I'll give you the final question. I know it's impossible to predict these things, but can you give us your general thoughts on the Giants this year, especially Russell Wilson, who's going to turn 37 during the season?
Yeah, he's getting close to my age. Not quite. He's 13 years younger than me, but you know what I mean.
He's trying to catch us, Tiki.
Yeah, he really is. Quarterbacks think they can play forever. And I know that Russell, having talked to him a few times being over there, feels as healthy as he's felt in a long time. He's lost some weight. He's always had that deep ball. You've seen over the last couple of years in Denver and then last year in Pittsburgh. He can still throw that deep ball. It's the other things, the elusiveness and the quickness that made him such a dynamic player in those early years in Seattle that we're still waiting to see if it's still there or not. I think my first time over with this new team and regime was about 3.5 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And when I first walked in the door, Mike, there was a genuine enthusiasm. And I think it's because of the youth injection that's coming to this team. I think it's because of there is an idea of what the future plan is going to look like. Whereas in previous years with injuries and other things, it's felt like, where are we going? And so there's an optimism. But the challenge of this season is going to be the schedule of the season. It starts rough with Washington and then the Cowboys and then the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chargers. It's like all playoff teams right away. And so I think the key is going to not to be discouraged by tough outings. But I also know one of the great things about Brian Daboll, our head coach, is that he creates this culture where there's an accountability, there is a smart way of playing the game, and ultimately keep it close and try to win at the end. If that mantra works, then the Giants can maybe surprise some people this year. But it's going to be a tough road to hoe, but it's not a challenge that I think anybody is backing away from.
As they say, time will tell. You can catch the Giants pregame and postgame show on WFAN. John Schmeelk and Tiki Barber, so happy for both of you guys. Best of luck, and we'll be sure to tune in all season long.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Our pleasure. Well, that's it for this week's show. I'll see you next Monday. And for all New Jersey sports and news, head over to ONNJ.com.